world comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Morning. Happy Sunday to most. To a lot of my listeners, it's probably Monday. Seem to have a lot of listeners on the other side of the world. I hope you enjoy these. I've been trying to stay up on the posting so that when you get up the next morning, you got something. So seems to be working. And thank you very much. Thank you very much. I may be in America. I may love America, but everybody's a child of God in my book. Everyone is a child of God. A lot of you are using something to listen to me where it changes the called iVox. So thank you, iVox, for helping me out, get the message out there. You'll find that the Daily Trudge is kind of different from a lot of the other recovery places out there. We don't ask for money. We don't do cuts. I don't edit. You get it raw. That's how it works around here. Sunday seems to be my lowest day after Saturday. So just wait see if anybody's going to get here today. A lot of people go to church, family time. Yeah, I got to spend some time with the kids. We're living a new life now, man. And family is important. Family is important. Your mental health is important. You are important, and you got to take care of yourself. You got to take care of you first, man. And that's kind of what this is going to be about today. It seems like there's a lot of scary things going on in this world, but it seems more along the lines of God, stop pointing the finger at other people for how we feel. I see it all over the place. I'm getting ready to get rid of half the people on my Facebook. Okay? I do not believe in hate. I do not believe in name calling. I don't think any of these things are going to help anybody get by in life. So let's get started. Let's get started here. Welcome to Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. Meaning tone morning time. Good morning, Amber. Morning time. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. I'm Dion. I'm your host. Somebody just told me in a meeting, they're like, I see why you do podcasting. I'm like, yeah, because I can't shut my damn mouth. If you're here, please say hello, whether watching the live or the rewatch. The part in the big book, and it says, if you work on your spiritual malady first, everything else will fall into place. And maybe we'll go to that part in the big book. I'm going to have to look it up. But today's reading is a Hazelden reading, one day at a time. I enjoyed it, and it wasn't on step 3. I'm already tired of step 3. And why does every Zoom meeting have to be on steps 1, 2, or 3? I hardly hear anything about 4 through 12 anymore, especially 6, 7, 8, and 9. There's a lot of other topics out there. I understand that it's because the newcomers are there, but the newcomers need to know there's more to life than steps 1, 2, and 3, man. And the problem I find when we concentrate on steps 1, 2, and 3, that people complain more about how their life was than anything else. I start to hear war stories, So let's not let these newcomers stay in that sickness. We got to be the example. We got to move up. We got to move forward. And we got to stop blaming other people for who we are and how we are acting. Tired of it. Right? And I have no qualms removing somebody from my Facebook, especially when my phone don't ring. Let's get started. All right. March 9th. Reflection for the day. In fact, several people have already left since I started this. Hey, I'm moving into a new phase of my life, and I gotta tell you something. I'm not gonna apologize for who I am. I'm certainly not gonna apologize for what I do. It's not gonna happen. So, and why? Because I place my spiritual growth first. I'm not an asshole. I'm not bigger than you. I'm not better than you. I'm not better than anybody. But I do know that I'm better than I was yesterday. And it's the only comparison that is legitimate. The only one. We learned in the program in its 12 steps that as we grow spiritually, we find that our old attitudes towards our instinctual drives need to undergo a drastic revision. What are those instincts? To be the best, right? To be top dog. I want to be the goat of recovery. There's no goats in recovery. We're all even. We're all even. There's no such thing as a functioning alcoholic. That is an oxymoron, actually. It is. And that's my experience. I've never met any alcoholic who is functioning. Well, I have 2 cars in the garage. I have 2. Yeah, but your spiritual health sucks. Your mental health sucks. Your emotional health sucks. Okay. And money cannot buy you sobriety. It cannot buy you recovery. So good luck with that. Okay. You got to get to a place where it's okay just being an alcoholic. You know, heck, there are people out there driving this stuff home. I commented on a place where they're like, "Are you a high level entrepreneur who drinks too much?" And what that does is it creates stigma. It creates a path. What it does is it complements the lie. It complements the denial. And those people are keeping them sick so they can continue to control them. I'm telling you, it's exactly what's happening. Okay. So what are these instinctual drives? What are the other ones? Well, to fit in, to be a part of something, to be wanted and needed and loved, to have people in your life that care about you. Those are the real instinctual drives that we're going after. It's just that we tend to clamor, you know, people will step on the shoulders of others to stand taller. And it's not something I'm willing to go for. You know, I'm big on men's mental health. And this morning I saw something that really hurt me. It did. It hurt me. And people were laughing at it, and I did not find it funny. And it was saying that men that the day that men's mental health is looked up the most on Google is on women's National Women's Day. And people are laughing at that, and they were all women in my family. Yeah, that one hurt. It did. It's like, is that really what that person thinks of me and their family? Is that what they really think of me? Because I looked it up. I wanted to know when it was so I could celebrate it. I haven't memorized. You know, made me think of it. So why can't we use the good for the good, man? Why must we separate these things? Why can't we have National Everybody Day? Why do we, because National Women's Day just sets women apart so that you don't get as much. It's an appeasement. It's an appeasement. Kind of like Father's Day when, you don't see on Mother's Day, and to all the fathers out there that are mothers. See? And then to have people running around saying, I don't understand fear, that I don't understand hurt, that I don't understand pain. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I've I've been through more pain in this life than most other people, and I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear you whining, you're crying. No, nobody wanted to hear mine. Where was everybody when I was in the fucking gutter at 17? Nowhere. There was no one. I was ready to die. All right. Our demands for emotional security, that was my big one. Did it through relationships. Certainly did it to my wife. I had to become something better. You know, I had to become something worth having for my wife so that I could keep her because she's that important to me. Right. So I had to change. Our demands for emotional security and wealth, for personal prestige and power, all have to be tempered and redirected. Okay. Now I still have all these. Absolutely, I do. I mean, I'll be the first to tell you I love being the center of attention. Did I say hi, Michelle? If I didn't, hello. I apologize if I didn't. All right. Um, for personal prestige and power, I'll have to admit I like being set aside a little bit. Yeah, I kind of do. This is different. Daily trudge is different. Raw recovery is different. Okay. Well, there's a lot of things that we don't do. What I'm not doing is trying to go for popularity. It's just not something I really. I've never been popular, so I have no idea how to gain popularity. I don't know. I'm naive to that, and maybe it's for the better. Not only that, but there's a lot of things out there I'm not willing to do. It goes against my morals. It goes against God's will, and I'm not willing to do that. God and my spiritual program is the number one thing in my life because without it, I don't have my wife. I don't have my life. I don't have my kids. I don't have my grandchildren. I don't have the daily trudge. I don't get all my friends in my AA meetings. I won't have my therapist. I won't have Amber and Michelle here. I wouldn't have my good friend, Pastor Marcia. It'd all be gone. And that's from my spirituality. It is not from any other effort that I made. We learn that the full satisfaction of these demands cannot be the sole end and aim of our lives. Just like the safe space that I was talking about yesterday, you have got to become your own safe space. And this has been my experience, and I know it because I used to do it, where I would tear other people apart so that I would feel better. And it was a band-aid so that I would feel better about myself. Okay. And I put that into line with like being grateful for a roof over my head. I'm not grateful for the roof over my head. And I am not grateful for the roof over my head because there's millions of people out there without a roof over their head. And I'm not going to make myself feel better because somebody has less than me. That is pride in my book. It may be different for you. And if it works for you, that is fantastic. But for me, it is not a place I am willing to go. I get my gratitude by helping other people. It is a dividend for me. Not because grateful, if you go for your gratitude list, you know what that leads to? It leads to complacency, to satisfaction. No. I can't get no satisfaction. But I try and I try. But I can't get no. No, no, no. Right? All right. But when we're willing to place spiritual growth first, then and only then do we really have a chance to grow in healthy awareness and mature love. Mature love, loving people appropriately for who they are. All right. I used to confuse lust with love all the time. I thought it was the same thing for years and years and years. So I didn't really have any friends that were men. I always had pretty girls that I flirted with online. Online's been around for a long time. Okay. Early 90s. I I logged on to AOL. I think I was 23. That would have been 1993. All right. Am I willing to play spiritual growth first? I appreciate them putting willing in there. I'm going to tell you something. You have to play spiritual growth first. It's the only way that works. I'm going to rephrase that so that people don't get offended, because that is more of a me thing, right? So Dion needs to play spiritual growth first. It's the only way that seems to work for me. I've got to take care of me first. And the reason that I have to take care of me first is because otherwise I'm no good to you or anybody else around me. And I want to be. I want to be a better person. I love hearing that my family is proud of me. And by my family, I mean my wife and kids. The other ones don't say nothing. They don't need to. They're not required to do that, right? Huh. See, I'm proud of myself. I've come a long way. I'm not the person I was a month ago. Definitely not the person I was 8 years ago. Not the person I was 20 years ago. But I like who I am today. And that is because I place spiritual growth first. There's a lot of things I see online. They start out all nice and whatever. But I mean, it seems like every post has some kind of zinger to it, some kind of ending punch in the gut kind of thing. Read that again, do this, do that, and it adds to the fake. And the more that we put into fake, the more fake we're going to get. Yeah. People tend to think that happiness is the goal. And it's not. Happiness, like gratitude, is a dividend. Yeah. Balance is the goal. Balance is the goal. May I develop as a spiritual person, temper my habitual hankerings for material security. I don't mind a little bit of security. Like right now, I don't want to ever move again. Not really. But I'd rather have a smaller place. I don't want 5 bedrooms and a big yard and all that. Too much to do. Too much responsibility. Oh no. Oh no. God forbid I have that big backyard. I got to do something. If those are my problems today, I'll take them. What's your whiny problem this morning, Sawyer? May I understand that the only real security in life is spiritual? I've never found it anywhere else. No human being out there that can really make me feel, they can make me feel more secure. My wife does that, but my security comes from within. My esteem comes from within. I'm a spiritual person living in a human body. That's the way I see it. If I have faith in my higher power, these revisions in my attitudes will follow. May I grow first in spiritual awareness. Yeah. Today I'll remember, value the life of the spirit. Where's my phone? We're going to look something up go to the big book here. As I remember the line. I got to remember the line first. Hold on, it'll come to me. AA Big Book, Straighten Out Our Spirituality. Looks like it's on page 64. 64. That might be right. It might not. We're about to find out. Yep, there it is. There it is. So this will be in the middle of the 4th step. I'm going to go back a little bit. I'm going to start on the very bottom of page 63 for anybody that would like to follow along. Next, we launched out on a course of vigorous action, the first step of which is a personal house cleaning, which many of us never attempted. Though our decision was a vital and crucial step, it could have little permanent effect unless at once followed by a strenuous effort to face and be rid of the things in which ourselves have been blocking us. Our liquor was but a symptom, so we had to get down to causes and conditions. Okay. And this is part of the process of figuring out who you are. Okay. I saw a post this morning and it said, well, you don't understand LGBTQ because they really had to look inside and at least they know who they are. I'm sorry. I love LGBTQ too because they're children of God. That's not true. I did that too. And I'm not trans. I'm not. Okay. It's open for everyone. And those are the kinds of posts that will create more division. Do not set yourself aside as a separate entity just because you look different or maybe think a little different or because you appreciate one gender over another. I don't see it that way. No. I think that women's lib hurts women's lib. But what do I know? I'm a man. What do I know? I'm still a little peeved about that I tell you now, you harp on men's mental health, you're going to hear from me. Yeah. And when you wonder why men don't open up and post and shit like that. No wonder your man won't talk to you. You're gaslighting shit. Oh, there I go, name calling. I apologize. No name calling. Yeah, there we go. Pulling out a little bit of Lennon there. Some John Lennon. All right. Therefore, we start upon a personal inventory. This was step 4. A business which takes no regular inventory usually goes broke. Taking a commercial inventory is a fact-finding, fact-facing process. It is an effort to discover the truth about stock and trade. One object is to disclose damaged or unsaleable goods, to get rid of them promptly without regret. If the owner of the business is to be successful, he cannot fool himself about values. Try to find our value here, where we stand on things. What's been blocking us from the sunlight of the spirit? That's what we're trying to figure out. It's our ism. These are the isms. I, self, me. Right? Alcoholism. Well, alcoholism, you take away the alcohol because you're sober now. What do you have? You have the isms. Now, alcoholism is a mental disease. It centers in the mind. We did exactly the same thing with our lives. We took stock honestly. First, we searched out the flaws in our makeup, which caused our failure. Being convinced that self manifested itself in various ways was what had defeated us. We considered its common manifestations. Resentment is the number one offender. It destroys more alcoholics than anything else. From it stem all forms of spiritual disease. For we have not been only mentally and physically ill, we have been spiritually sick. Now, we can use spiritually sick as for a lot of things, including understanding where other people are at. Yeah. A lot of spiritually sick people in AA, huh? There should be. Not everybody working on their spiritual malady, huh? Yeah. Stop opening meetings at the 20-minute part. And if you're chairing the meeting, you don't get a 10-minute fucking lead. Shut up. Would you? Just what I was thinking of. Especially at Zoom meetings, man. Blah, 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 blah. And then you think you get to share too. When I chair and I bring up the topic, 2 minutes. 2 minutes, my friends. They've already heard me for to the last 10 minutes. 2 minutes. Or you know what happens? Everybody goes, "What's the topic? What's the topic?" Because you overdid it. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. In fact, it's a rule I think we should put in grassroots that if you're chairing the meeting, that your opening should only be about 2 minutes long. The description of the topic should only be about 2 minutes long, right? But sometimes it's a need that we're trying to fulfill. We don't know, and you're not going to know it unless somebody makes you aware of it, right? So, when the spiritual malady is overcome, we straighten out mentally and physically. And it's true. That's been my experience. And it's my experience to this day. Okay. That I go to my spiritual sickness first. Because the diseases that come from my spiritual sickness come in a lot of different ways. Some of them are a spiritual disease, some are a mental disease, some are physical diseases like heart attacks and strokes and anxiety and depression. And these are all diseases, right? Narcissism. I get a little tired of people running around calling everybody else a narcissist. It's name calling. Narcissism is a mental illness and they cannot help themselves. I was born a fucking liar. I changed. So then I see these posts now. Oh, people with ADHD are a narcissist's worst nightmare. And it's coming from a therapist. No. You know how I feel about narcissists? They're children of God who are spiritually sick and haven't been taught how to do it the correct way yet. Right? It's hard to get to that place. It's hard to get to a place where you don't really name call anymore. I just did it earlier. And see how easy it is to come out of our mouths. See how easy it was to do just so that you would be in line with what I thought. No, that's not how this world. It doesn't need to work that way. All right. I'm tired of the division. And I will not be a party to it. I'm also not going to tolerate it on my Facebook anymore. I know you're hurting. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I also know a lot of people that are not hurting because they have a spiritual program. They have a spiritual program. Now, this is the way I kind of see it is I can either sit here and complain about the state of the world or I can try and go make the world a better place. You can't do both though. I've found that you cannot do both. All right. So, all right. It's 11:40, 11:41, 19 minutes till the noon. I like Sundays because I end my day at 1:00. I'll probably come back. Who knows? Been trying to stay away from my computer a little bit more. So, all right. So, just to kind of recap on this is, and we see it all the time where people come in and they'll demand things. Well, I my job comes first. Oh, so I'm so busy with work. I'm so busy. Well, work interferes with my work. Bullshit. You found time to fucking drink. You found time. There are extreme cases. There are extreme cases. I had one guy this week, and he's like, I couldn't get to meetings. Okay. And it was over $1 million thing. It was kind of, yeah, he couldn't. Okay. But that's not what we're getting into here. All right. And the more I point my finger out, the less I'm going to receive of anything that is good. If I put bad out into the world, if I put division into the world, I have divided myself from a whole set of people that I could have learned something from. And if you want to shoot your own foot, that's your business. But I don't need to be around it, and I won't. I've noticed that since this man came into office, there's like several people who aren't showing up to the meetings that they were showing up to here. They ain't coming here, and they're acting like I just don't exist. I don't think I don't notice. Oh, I notice. I absolutely do. I oh well. I've met hundreds of thousands of people in this world that turned around and left. It ain't gonna be much to me. So, not something that we need to tolerate. See, I understand my triggers. Doesn't mean, but that doesn't mean I have to sit there and look at it either. And I also don't go hanging out at the liquor store or the bars. I don't do that either. See, and that would be the same level. And even if I say something to him about it, all I'm doing is really reinforcing the division. You got to stop dividing yourself from other people and being terminally unique. That leads to pride. It leads to egotism. It leads to you playing God, is what it leads to. And yes, I'm saying you, I'm saying we, because you're a human being, and that's how human beings work. I have been studying the human psyche for fucking years, for 54 years, and I understand it very, very well. And it's quite often, I know what you're going to do next because that's what people do. I'm not psychic. It's just, I lived a very unsafe life. So I look at everything. I notice everything. If you're not a very good person and you walk into the room, I'm going to know within 30 seconds. I'm going to know just by the way you carry yourself, just by the way you're moving your hands, shifting your eyes, because I was always not safe. So I had to learn how to survive. But on the opposite side, I also know when somebody's very, very good. I know when somebody's having a servant's heart. I know when somebody's intentions are good, but I also know when they're bad. And I act accordingly. Yeah. That's from trauma. So I don't hang out with people that do stupid shit. I just don't. That's their stuff. I'm much, yesterday I got a message, in Messenger saying, "Hey, you should talk to this person. They don't believe in sober livings and da 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 bullshit." That person had a big argument with me about the fact that they were okay with a certain level of body brokering, and I will tolerate zero, none. Oh, that's just something we deal with, and I'm like, if that's your attitude about it, take care. And they went on their own merry way. And I said, well, they have a problem with me. So they're going to have to come back and approach me if I'm going to do anything for them. But it ain't going to happen. Aside, I'm not here to fight the sober livings anymore. Clearly, you haven't been listening. I'm trying to be more proactive. I'm putting things out there that people need. Okay. Oh, he's charging? Then fuck you. No. Not only that, but this person has not completed any kind of steps. They're two-stepping everything, and I can see right through it. I'm not stupid or naive when it comes to that. So, all right. Thank you everybody for being here. I'll see some of you at the noon meeting. I might see some of you later if I decide to go live again, but otherwise we will see you tomorrow. Thank you everybody for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. You know I do. Peace out. And